several new mysterious dinosaurs has got a lot of people confused about the lore and the appearance as a whole. One such example was the infamous mutant T-Rex, which I will talk about later. But there's another mutant which seems to be completely missed and locked out entirely, even though it could be the most important piece in Jurassic World and Parks media since the franchise had began. You see, there's a lot of confusion already about which island we're going back to in Rebirth. Some people believe it's the original Isla Sorna, because you know that is where they made the dinosaurs before shipping them over to Jurassic Park, and some people believe it's just off the coast of Barbados. Now, which is true? Well, immediately in the trailer, they say they're going past Barbados, which is the complete opposite side of South America. The original Jurassic Park was on the left-hand side, the west side, you know, by Costa Rica, but this new island is supposedly on the right part of South America, the east side, by the Bahamas. But immediately, if that was the case, it'd be close to the Bermuda Triangle, and how would you transport dinosaurs from this island, which is on the right-hand side of South America, all the way over to the other side? That doesn't seem to make sense, right? And not only that, I haven't even spoke about the mutant dinosaurs yet, so I just want to clear up this island fiasco. I believe, immediately, this isn't one of the original islands. It's not Isla Nublar, it's not Isla Sorna, it's not any of the islands in the Five Deaths. It's not a site C, so to speak. It's a completely new island on the right-hand side of South America, which, yes, I do believe was owned by InGen at some point, and that's the key here, some point. I believe the base, or the basis of an original lab was there prior to Jurassic Park, prior to 1993. They conducted their research and then abandoned it. But you might be thinking, well, Shadows, what about these mutant dinosaurs? They're still there, there's dinosaurs on their island. Correct, there is. And I will 100% be covering the D-Rex and the two-headed raptor, how they fit into the Jurassic World lore, Jurassic Park lore, and I know you might be thinking, well, does it really make a difference? Well, yes, it does. If you're a hard and seasoned Jurassic fan like myself, it makes all the difference. We can't go retconning stuff, and that's what we're going to solve today. These mutant dinosaurs, were they InGen's, or were they another company entirely? Parker Genix. What is Parker Genix, you might be asking? Well, funnily enough, I believe it's the actual company who went back to this island, this original InGen facility, took it over, and started conducting their own greedy corporate research. You see, this Parker Genetics is seen on some merchandise, which has come to light in the last few days, at Universal Studios in Florida. Now, not only that, this Parker Genix, this company, seems to be the one financing all the equipment for Scarlett and her team, because we see on the gun, if you zoom in closely, a PG logo, exactly like the Parker Genix logo. Very odd. Because by now you already know the synopsis of the plot, where they have to go and get 3 samples from the world's largest dinosaurs to cure some type of disease. Now, I've talked about the disease in the past. Is it the DX virus? Probably not. It's some type of disease we know about now, maybe a cancer. But they've got to go back to this original island, as they say, where these dinosaurs were too dangerous for Jurassic Park. Now, there's several problems with this. Immediately on the island, we see live specimens of dinosaurs, which look like the original versions from Jurassic Park and Jurassic World. They are clearly not too dangerous for Jurassic Park or World. They had them there on display. We see a T-Rex, we see a Dilophosaurus. Granted, the Dilophosaurus was never on display, but was intended to be in Jurassic Park and was in Jurassic World. We also see a velociraptor claw. Now, I'm coming back to that later because I believe that claw right there isn't a normal velociraptor claw. But getting back on track, these clearly were not the dinosaurs too dangerous for Jurassic Park. So why did they just leave them there then? That's because they've probably been bred by a different company, not InGen or Masrani Global. Because let's face it, if they were bred for the original Jurassic Park, which opened in 1993, these would have been bred prior to what? Isla Sorna's creation, which would have been 1990. These dinosaurs would be coming up 50 years old. Something is amiss here. And not only that, looking at Masrani's back door, you can see in the timeline that the first test results for embryos were in 1984 in Japan, Tokyo, conducted already by InGen. They were not on some type of magnificent new island off Barbados. Because here's what's really happening in the lore. This guy who hires Scarlett and the rest of her team is obviously the owner or co-owner of this Parker Genix, a rival company to Biocen and InGen potentially. And he wants them to go back to this island because this island was owned after InGen by Parker Genix. They went there, set up a base in the abandoned InGen facility. the first facility, and started conducting their own genetic research way after Jurassic Park, because this would explain why the technology is way more advanced than anything we've seen in World. You see, InGen probably did own this island off the coast of the Bahamas for basic research. They conducted it, then left. That would explain the really rustic parts in the trailer. Then Parker Genix commandeers the island after the fall of Jurassic Park, or even after World 2015. Who's to say Parker Genix isn't another one of those greedy corporations? They set up this lab in the old labs, conduct research for biological weapons, hence they make this mutant dinosaur. It goes horribly wrong. They abandon the island because of this rampaging mutant along with other mutant dinosaurs, but they can't just leave them billions of pounds worth of assets there. No, they're gonna have to go back and get them. And they do so under the guise of collecting DNA from the dinosaurs to cure some type of disease. That way, the company wouldn't have lost its valuable research by abandoning it. They're able to retrieve that DNA and continue their greedy corporate activities elsewhere. And that's where the TREX comes into play, their experimentation with dinosaurs which are already potentially on that island. That would explain the seemingly normal T-Rex, the dilophosuaurs, and why are they on that island to begin with? They could have even been made by this Parker Genix company. And now I'd like to come on to the two-headed raptor. Now immediately my first thought was that this is giving me Alien Resurrection vibes. You know, where Ripley goes in and sees clones of her past selves. You know, she's number 8 and she sees the clones 1 to 7, the failed attempts if you were. I thought this could potentially be the case with the velociraptor here. You know, InGen trying to perfect the velociraptor genome right makes sense, but in actual fact, it doesn't, because they tried that on Isla Sorna. That's what Isla Sorna was about. That's why we see all the velociraptors in the tubes there. This is something else. And not only that, this test tube isn't old. It's not decrepit. It doesn't look like it's been there 30, 40 years. Like the ones we see in Jurassic Park 3, look at how decrepit and rusted they are compared to this one with the two-headed raptor. The two-headed raptor one almost looks like it's brand new. The ones in Jurassic Park 3 had been sitting there since the start of Jurassic Park, so let's say 1990. Jurassic Park 3 comes out in 2003. They would have been there, what, 12, 13 years max? And they've got that level of decay. But they're trying to tell us that these test tubes we see here are also from 1993? So that's nearly 30, 40 years of decay, but yet they look brand new? Something isn't adding up here. And that's because this raptor, this mutant dinosaur, was not created by InGen. They were not destined for the park. This isn't something they'd left behind. This is something brand new, which was created potentially by Parker Genix. It's also my belief that we're going to see this two-headed raptor. Look in the kitchen scene, we see the raptor claws come down, but something's different. They don't look identical to the ones we see in Jurassic Park 3. Now, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love velociraptors, and I think they're a staple part of the franchise, very much like the T-Rex, but I would love to see this two-headed raptor in action, even if it's just for a split second. The claws do look slightly different. They could be the two-headed raptor, but who knows? They're not going to reveal everything in the trailer. They're going to leave some shocks, right? I'd also like to say that this company who's commandeered the island and brought online all these new facilities were clearly developing genetic technology by cloning A, the dinosaurs, and B, trying to make mutant versions, maybe biological weapons of some sort, to sell to the highest bidder. I mean, that's been a theme throughout the Jurassic Park novels, Jurassic Park franchise. It's the core principle. Mankind trying to wield technology they cannot control. That sums it all up in these mutants. It started with Dodgson bribing Dennis Nedry to get the embryos. It then turns into a greedy corporation where they start to militarize the dinosaurs, selling them off to the highest bidder. In Dominion, Lewis Dodgson returns, and what is he doing? The same thing, trying to capitalize on DNA technology with locusts eating crops and them being the only one who can stop the locusts. Now fast forward again a couple of years and we have this Parker Genix trying to harness the power of genetic technology. Just like Ian Malcolm says, it's like a kid who's found their father's gun. It didn't require any discipline to attain this technology, and therefore they have no responsibility for it. But the main question is here, did they intentionally create a two-headed raptor? Did they intentionally create that T-Rex? I mean, they kept it in for containment for long enough. It wasn't a failed experiment. Why would they have kept her alive in this pen? Wouldn't they have just put it in a tube like they did the velociraptor potentially? Something is off about this mutant dinosaur. We could say that, you know, it was them trying to fill in the gene sequence gaps like InGen did with the frog DNA, but that again doesn't fit with the story which I'm building here. It is an InGen, it's Parker Genix. Now, I'm not saying it's entirely out of the question that InGen couldn't have gone back to this island just before Jurassic World, you know, like early 2000s, and conducted research there, creating this mutant dinosaur. The first attempt at a hybrid, maybe. Prior Scorpius Rex. That would be the only explanation though, because they couldn't have been trying to perfect a genome because they would have had the genomes from 1993. I mean, they were literally living specimens out there in the wild, right? They could literally just take that DNA, and that's exactly what they do. So if they did go back to the island with this new technology for the Jurassic World, it would have to have been for some type of hybridization concept, because that would explain the newer technology. It couldn't be what people believe it to be in the trailer. That is literally a cover story and a lie by this person to get them onto the island, to recover the DNA of their other experiments. That is why they're there. They are equipped with Parker Genix technology. The labs we see are brand new. They do not match aged, decayed facilities. Because if they were old, the first iteration of dinosaurs before they perfected them, they'd be decrepit, they'd be decayed. This isn't the case. I've proven it earlier on. This is something different. This is another greedy corporation. And this is the origins of the T-Rex and the two-headed raptor. They are not InGen's creations. But you know, that's just a theory. If you enjoyed this, I highly recommend checking out my Haunting Jurassic Park media, what was kept in Paddock 10 and the restricted section. And don't forget, subscribe for plenty more Jurassic content. If you're a fan of Jurassic Park, this is the place to be. Massive thanks to all my members who are on screen. Now you guys keep the power on in the park. With extra special mentions to DVM Wannabe 1018 and Hammer Time. And if you came across the T-Rex on this island, could your day get any worse? You bet Jurassic can. Catch you later.